Good evening, legends. Bitcoin is at a very interesting point right now, so I'm going to take a look at Bitcoin, some altcoins, go through a couple of my personal opinions, and as always, guys, I will be touching on a few strategies I like to use for scalping, risk management, trend recognition, all that sort of good fun. So with that, we're going to start by zooming way out here. As I always do, I like to start on the longer time frames and then zoom in. Actually, one thing I do want to zoom right in because full disclosure, I am in a little bit of a scalp just because we got this reversal warning in my 786, 886 Fibonacci pocket. If we get up to this level, I will be starting to scale out of my position already. So I have a quarter of my position will be sold if we get up near this point of control here. I think I had it set at around 43,277 or something like that. So hopefully that gets hit before I get stopped out on my position. But yeah, other than that, we'll hop. I just wanted to let you guys know that at the start of the video, but we're going to hop over to the weekly here. Once again, yeah, Bitcoin is finally starting to show a little bit of weakness. But really on the weekly time frame here, it still does look great. And you know, another thing I want to point out is I know we're all kind of watching the 618 Fibonacci level. That's pulled from bull market top to bear market bottom. Basically, for those of you new to my streams here, I point this out all the time that we've always in the past, and this does not have to repeat itself, just it has been a part of Bitcoin's history. At any time we get a test of that 618 Fibonacci level, it ends up sparking a huge correction, basically. So I've had this mapped out for, I've been talking about this basically since the FTX collapse. When we bottomed out, I said, if that happens to be our capitulation and we are going to start reversing there, it was obviously early to say. But since this time, I was saying that if that is the bottom, to watch out for this, for the actual bull trap or bear market rally, if you want to call it that. I don't want to call this a bear market anymore, but just basically where we see a harsh rejection, I think it absolutely makes sense if we get to that 618, as well as it lines up with this structure back here. I just think that's such an obvious level. Now, obviously there is a ton of people watching that level now. So whether it happens again or not, we're going to have to see. Like I said, anything can happen. The market really doesn't give a shit what my opinion is, but that's just a level that's been on my radar since I think November. And I talk about it every video pretty much because I want to drill it into my own head, not to fall for that FOMO, you know, hey, we're getting to that $50,000 level. I mean, Bitcoin's right around the corner from all-time highs. We should jumpstart the big blue sky breakout kind of a thing. I just want to keep this on my radar as a level to watch myself. I think treading carefully anywhere from here up until that level, really 48 all the way to 50,000 US dollars, somewhere in there, I could see being grounds for rejection anytime now. I really still do think we're going to get up to those levels. We're going to have to see how this weekly candle closes. But since we have been respecting Fibonacci so well, I was even talking about this as we got above the 382. We just kind of started tapping away at it for about a month there. So these Fibonacci levels are obviously levels of interest. And I think the fact that we broke above the 0.5 already, I just don't see why we wouldn't reach that 618. But obviously, market makers, whoever, if they just decide, hey, everyone's expecting that, maybe they're going to just front run the market a little bit. Or you know what? Maybe the exact opposite happens. You guys know on shorter time frames, I love these higher Fibonacci pockets. Maybe this market cycle is different and the macro scale is going to get all the way up towards those higher Fibonaccis as well. You know, if they want to pull a fast one and make the fool out of everybody in the market, everybody is watching this level for a short right now. So if they did just do some sort of a short squeeze, I mean, yeah, then we absolutely have to start watching these higher levels. But in previous market cycles, guys, anytime we've got weekly candles closing above that 618, it's been parabolic run to the upside from there. You can see back here as well. Couple market cycles ago, as soon as we got those weekly candle closes above, came back, retested it, and just absolute rocket ship to the upside. So that's a level that is seriously on my radar. And like I said, it has been for over a year now. About 13 months I've been waiting for this level. So very excited to see how it plays out. Looking at the 4-hour chart, this is the first time that we've actually kind of dropped some sort of a local range. You can see that we had these wicks down here, and we're actually closing candle bodies below that level now, and even looks like we're flipping that support into resistance, so that isn't great. What I do like about this trend, and this goes back to talking about trend recognition with the indicators. You guys see me always talking about which way the W's are trending. That's a huge part of how I scalp. And just looking which way both the tops and the bottoms are trending, I really like to see them align. And you can see basically since way back here, the tops higher high, higher highs all the way up, even where we got this reversal right now. Still just a higher high reversal warning. So until we start seeing lower highs come in with the W, that's where I'll actually start considering shorting a little more. Right now, I'm totally fine. I don't have FOMO for a short at all. I just don't really want to bet against this train. Maybe a very, very short-term scalp, but I'm really not looking at holding any significant shorts at this time. Obviously, anything can happen, but it's just I would rather play with the trend here. So what I would love to see is to see us, you know, even if we took a Fibonacci, even from this previous reversal there, a Fibonacci pull, something like that maybe. I would love to see us, actually that would even be a retest of the top of that ascending triangle on the 4-hour I had here. 786, 886 fib pocket would line up very nice with that. So if we do, and obviously there's a lot of what ifs between now and then, but if we flip this into resistance, end up dropping the retest of this range that I have outlined too. I've had this mapped out for quite some time now. If we fall back into that range and get a retest and it looks like, you know, we're starting to see bearish divergences, anything like that, this retest may be a good short entry. But I really don't think the market cycle's done or anything like that. We just might see a deeper correction for the first time in quite a while. I mean, we're starting to see these bearish divergences coming into play. That was right in line with this reversal warning. So a few things lining up on the indicators for sure. But I'm just not all too worried yet. I'm still favoring scalps to the long side because usually you guys have probably seen I've been posting a lot of charts that are kind of focused on, hey, here's what I played on the 1 minute type of chart. I mean, all charts kind of work the same. So whether if you can trade the 4-hour chart, I feel like you can trade the 1 minute chart. It's just basically a rule I've come up with for myself is that I like to start reducing a position within about 10 candles of whatever time frame I'm playing. So, you know, if I'm playing an hourly chart, I want to be starting to downsize my position, whether it's because I'm in a small loss, break even, a small profit. I just feel more comfortable about just as a reminder to play whatever time frame I'm on. I really try and stick to within 10 candles or so. And that's just something someone said to me one time, and it just kind of, it's something that I've liked working into my trading because on a big thing a lot of people have problems with and why people can't trade shorter time frames is because it's so easy to get greedy and think that, hey, oh, see, I did take a little bit of profits already. So it's easy to get into a 1 minute position like this and then expect this to turn into a home run trade where that's just not realistic. So that actually worked out quite well. I had these targets preset and it was within about 10 candles or so. So I'm starting to downsize my position just to reduce risk. You know, if I'm wrong on this position, it's totally fine. At least I'm going to take a softer loss if I do end up getting stopped out still. So that's just kind of one thing to consider is that when I'm entering positions and even when I'm looking at the 4-hour chart and stuff like that, I'm personally usually playing shorter time frames and I'm looking to scale out of at least half of my position relatively quickly. Like I said, I took about a quarter out on this one already. I'm going to be pretty quick to close another quarter of my position probably during this stream at some point. And then I hope that the other half of my position is going to catch more of a swing. So and obviously it doesn't have to happen and I can update my stop loss and that sort of thing just so that once I start taking profits, I'm not going to take a loss anymore. That's often what I do when I'm scalping. Right now, I still left my stop loss down below this level, but yeah, so That's basically my story with scalping. Is I love playing a degen time frame. I love hopping into a 1 minute chart, as you guys have probably realized. But like I said, I'm quick to start downsizing that position. And if I'm hoping for a home run or a swing trade or whatever, I'm only hoping that with a small chunk of my position. You have to remember to pay yourself, because I mean, obviously, if you're not paying yourselves when you're up on a position and then you take some losses, obviously you're just going to drain your account quicker. So it's important to just pay yourself, you guys. Yeah, so a couple strategies that I like to use when I'm scalping. Actually, I should hop back into the 4 hour before I get ahead of myself. I just saw the price on the 1 minute chart here and was wondering if I took a little profits there. So back to the 4 hour chart. Like I said, I love the direction that the W's are going. We're still setting a bunch of higher highs. As well, on the low side, we have this low, higher low, higher low. So what I would really like to see, and what I think could be a potentially beautiful long entry, would be if we get another higher low W kind of a thing. Whether it's, I personally like to have a little more confluence with it. If you can start seeing bullish divergences, you pull back to a trend line you're watching, Fibonacci levels, that kind of thing. That can obviously go a long ways as well, just adding that confluence to your position. But I've noticed that when I am scalping or trading, this is just going back to these indicators, usually when I end up losing positions, it's because I decide that I'm going to jump the gun and not actually wait for the W's to change directions. I find that most of my losses happen when I ignore my own strategy of following the direction of the W's. And when I say that, like I said, I'd like to see them lining up the same direction, which we do have on the 4 hour right now. So just having another higher low would be great, because we still have the highs trailing to the upside. This is where starting to watch it as a bit of a risk management type of thing, or even a potential entry. But let's say we get some sort of a bounce like this. We see a lower high W come into play, and let's say we get a little bit of confluence, like let's say a Fibonacci. Let's just pull it. This is all make-believe at this point, but just things to watch for. If I could see a higher low reversal warning come into play, showing that, hey, the trend may be reversing, and get it in one of my favorite Fibonacci pockets, I'm very likely to end up taking a position there personally, just because then I find that, hey, my stop loss invalidation is basically just above the previous W, and sometimes you can get into such nice tight stop losses by using that as a bit of a strategy. So obviously it's not going to work every time, but rather than playing a breakout and having, let's say you don't get in until these levels down here and your invalidation's way up here. I mean, obviously playing the retrace and hitting those Fibonacci levels, looking for these signals, you can obviously significantly decrease the risk just by having such a tight stop loss on those positions. So that's generally what I'm looking for, but usually on a 1 minute chart, because you guys know I just love trading shorter time frames. I'm personally more of a scalper than a swing trader. Do a little bit of both, but it's usually scalping turning into swings. So still looking decent here. One thing to consider, and you know what, actually I'm going to close another quarter of my position just as risk management, because the lows are setting lower lows and we did get this lower high W here. I'm not interested in shorting right now, but that's generally a short signal that I like to take. So instead of entering a position here, I'm just going to use it as a bit of risk management, close a chunk of my position here. Just give me 1 minute. And just like that, I have half my position running. I am also going to update my stop loss to break even, just in case we get sidetracked here. I don't necessarily want to be out of this position, but just again, the best thing to do is obviously preserve capital, right? So I'd rather get stopped out at break even and have to find a new scalp later than to just risk not paying attention and losing a position. So I will set my stop loss 43,188, because that's, there we go. And that was, this is a 50x position, so that's about 10% profit where it is right now, and I closed half my position, so break even on the rest. Again, just making sure I pay myself, right? Is anyone else in any positions? Swings, scalps, anything? I gotta catch up on the chat here. Sorry to go back to these questions. The 10 candle rule, honestly, it's something I've just kind of started doing the last couple of months. I haven't really done any specific back testing on it. It's just something, and it's not even that I necessarily do it all the time. It's just kind of a rule that I keep in my head as, again, just to consider the time frame I'm playing. For example, this trade I'm in is a 1 minute position. I just have to remember that it is what it is, and I have to start closing my position quickly. That's more so what that rule comes down to. There is a little bit of give and take there. I don't have a specific, like at exactly 10 candles or anything like that. It's really just a reminder and just to kind of drill it into my own head, basically. Still surfing the 4-hour core trend band. Yes. Oh, that does look nice on your chart there. Long rows on a swing. I will take a look at that in a little bit here. Doge swing long. 85. Yeah, that's one I haven't looked at for a while. I'm going to start off by looking at Prop C because you guys know this is one altcoin that I do talk about quite a bit. This one looks like it's in a beautiful position. This is a 4-hour chart. And once again, we have the W's on our side, which I love to see. We just have, well, ever since down here, higher highs, all the way up to here. As well on the lower side of things, we just higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. So we still do have the indicator agreeing, the way I use it anyways, agreeing that the trend is to the upside. Another thing with this volume delta indicator, this yellow line I have here, that's the point of control here on the 4-hour. So yes, there's a lot of wiggle room between current price and that level. What kind of a percentage is that? Yeah, so this coin could drop 20% and in my opinion still not be in too terrible of a place because we do have all this structure that we've been building. I personally don't think we're going to drop that far because this broke out of this beautiful ace. Actually, let me just get rid of some indicators here just to clean things up. There we go. Yeah, we had this beautiful ascending triangle, just like what Bitcoin had basically, and we got a nice breakout to the upside. No surprise, the level that it's been struggling with. If I pull a Fibonacci from the all-time highs here down to where it bottomed out basically, once again, you can see just how important this green Fibonacci box is. That's kind of where we've been struggling. I like that we aren't seeing it just absolutely nuke from these levels. To me, it just looks like we're staircasing higher. The thing is, this project, this coin, the price structure that it's built, it has just been staircasing higher. And right now we are just basically consolidating on the 4-hour chart above old resistance here. So in my opinion, I think that's in a great position still. That's one altcoin that I'm speculating on there. Let me bring up Rose for you. Hopefully you don't mind. I'm going to go on MEXC just because that's the exchange I've been using. Just going to turn off the indicators first. Actually, I'll keep that one up. MDX, welcome. Welcome, brother. Same thing here. You know, we just have a beautiful level of resistance flipping into support. I do like to see that. Looking at basic structure, I mean, we had this high, higher high, higher high. I would really like to see this level hold basically. Here, let me just, yeah, basically this level I would really like to see hold if this thing's gonna carry on higher basically. The thing is right now, I think a lot relies on what Bitcoin does. And I really don't see Bitcoin just absolutely nuking without, you know, a couple tests of its highs, maybe some kind of a failed break, liquidity grab of some kind. Obviously, anything can happen, but what I'm interested in with altcoins now is to see if Bitcoin basically turns into some kind of a trading range, even if it's a big one, something like this. I think if Bitcoin starts just consolidating sideways in a range of any kind, I think altcoins are just going to absolutely explode. Right now, I feel like the focus is still highly on Bitcoin, especially with ETF stuff and all that kind of thing. I don't really do the whole news thing or fundamentals like that. I'd just rather draw colorful shapes and trade them. But yeah, I think that if Bitcoin does just form some kind of a range at all, I think the focus is going to shift to altcoins a little bit, where people can take their profits from this absolutely beautiful parabola. I mean, no other way to say it, basically a small parabola. People will end up taking those profits as long as Bitcoin and the market as a whole is looking healthy. They start diversifying those profits and just getting a little greedy, looking at the higher risk plays, just having a little more mess around money. And I think that's where altcoins are really going to start mooning. So yeah, this is, let's just look for random upward sloping trend lines. I really like diagonal trend lines personally, but I do like exact touch points. And before I'm going to consider anything an actual breakout with a trend line like this, I personally like to have at least 3 touch points. So right now, even if we end up dropping this support, I don't know if I'd want to short it. I mean, absolutely, that's a big structure break and it could turn into a nuke. But I personally, when I'm looking at diagonal trend lines breaks, I like at least 3 touch points. And so far, I'm just looking at this as one, this as one. I would really like to see, let's say, a third one, something like that. And then a break of this. I would love to short a retest in that case. But obviously, there's a lot of what ifs between now and then. So Doge is another one. Let's check out Doge. Ole. All right, we came in contact with some obvious resistance here. I'm gonna make this red just make it obvious here. What kind of Fibonacci's are we looking at from like this bigger swing here? You know, if we end up breaking through this resistance, this would be my next target, would be this box up here. I don't know. I personally been finding the 786, 886 fib pocket's been respected more than the 618 recently. So obviously we're trading at resistance right now. Let's just look some sort of an upward trend to hold. I'll map out a few different ways to draw this. Let's go something like this, and as it curls to the upside, we can just look for more trend lines to form later. Something like that. Again, I don't really like trusting a trend line until it has those 3 touch points, so these are just speculation at this point. If I were looking for a Fibonacci pull, let's say we end up getting a rejection here, I would pull the Fibonacci basically from the bottom. Actually, you know, I'd go right from where this rally started, something like so. And that's where, first of all, if it's a strong trend, I would expect to start seeing support at the 382. Generally speaking, in a strong trend, that's where you'll start to see the bounce come into play. On top of that, it lines up with this old resistance level. You can see that we did test it a couple times here. Here we got rejected, and we even got that immediate flip of that level. So that's already a decent little level with recent structure here. And the fact that it lines up with this 382 is beautiful. If we end up dropping that level, that's where I start to think that over time we're going to start targeting these lower Fibonacci's. Obviously, we'll have to see what happens there, but that's a level that I would be very interested in longing if we do get that opportunity. It could reverse before that. Let's see what the indicators are saying. The W's trending to the upside too. Love to see this. This is the 4-hour chart, hey? That is... I'm just going to remove my own drawings, clear things up a little bit. Man, look at all that demand. all these green boxes, this is demand zone with the advanced trend indicator. I keep mine pretty clear, basically reversal warnings, supply and demand boxes. That's basically it. And yeah, you can see that these W's are still very much so trending to the upside. I mean, we had the odd little bit of a warning that things might be reversing, but then right away, just shifting that trend back to the upside. So these W's lining up to the upside. What are these ones? Yeah, down here, these are basically a double bottom, but it is very slightly higher. A nice pullback and then a higher W forming, something like that. That's where I would start being interested in looking for some scalp longs. And then obviously, since like I said, I am more of a scalper, but if I saw that type of a thing on a 4-hour chart, then I want to dive into the shorter time frames. I want to look at the 1 hour, look at the 5 minute, look at the 1 minute, and start looking for my scalping strategies on those lower time frames just to get a nice snug stop loss, hopefully get in with a decent amount of leverage without having a ton of risk. Because you guys, one thing I want to make clear, I trade the 1 minute. I know I went over this before, but it's not for everybody. It can lead to bad habits like over trading, revenge trading, over leveraging yourself, all that sort of stuff that we should avoid. So understand that even though I'm using degen amounts like 69x or 50x or even 25x is getting a little excessive, understand that I have a nice tight stop loss and I also have bankroll management under control, where I'm obviously not going to blow up my account in one trade kind of a thing. So understand that there is risks involved in any kind of trading. But yeah, using these indicators, we can kind of help limit those. Because like I said, my favorite thing to do with these indicators is just pointing out the trend with which way these W's are going. And then I just kind of have an idea of which direction should I be scalping. You know, here's a perfect example on the 1 minute chart for Doge here. Obviously it's capped in hindsight at this point, but we had this high, higher high, higher high. Then we had this low, higher low. Look at that beautiful entry. It has not gone below that since. Here you get your next reversal warning. Boom, you're starting to close some of your position. I just absolutely love using that strategy. It's like I said, it's not going to be perfect every time, but sometimes you can get such a nice tight stop loss. Let's hop back over to Bitcoin. How is the position going? The other half hasn't been stopped out yet. Let me just catch up on the chat a little bit. Where's my stop loss? On this position, for example, my stop loss on this position was just basically below this lower low back here. I think I used 43.069 because you know how I be. At this point, my stop loss is at break even. After we ended up getting our quarter of our take profits here, then I closed another quarter, whatever, somewhere in here, whatever it was that I said there. Now my stop loss is at break even, so we'll see if I get stopped out during this stream on the other half. It's stealing money off kids in this market right now. Yeah, I have been loving this volatility. And the trend is, especially with how, you know, everybody's been posting in the Discord about the long short ratio. Like, you just see that the shorts were just piling up. Everybody was so desperate to short a reversal of this move that it was just so easy to keep playing the trend. And using these indicators, looking for those higher W's, looking for that 786, 886 Fibonacci pocket. It's been a great week. Someone commented 12K on Max's Twitter post. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know. Everyone loves to think that the price, you know, as soon as there's a little bit of weakness, people are going to be saying 10K, 6K, 3K. Like, who knows what kind of ridiculous things we're going to see. And then people are going to have their reasoning and they'll totally misanalyze how the economy actually works. And that's why you just play charts. And, you know, there's no point in predicting where the market's going to go overall. The important part is being able to react. Having predictions is great, It's obviously good to come up with a plan that, hey, if this prediction happens, I'm going to react this way. If this prediction happens, I'm going to react this way. That's what predictions are good for, but being able to react is 100 times more important than being able to predict. So throwing around those random numbers of 12K, how is that going to help you? If you're taking a YOLO short from here and you happen to nail it, great, but like, I find that just wait for the structure to happen. You know, if all of a sudden we break bullish structure and the market starts going bearish, then yeah, again, the trend will be your friend, but the charts will show that, and just play it until it breaks some structure again, right? So there's no point in people claiming that we're going back to 12K or anything like that right now. What in this chart would ever say you're going down to 12K? The fact that we like, look at Bitcoin's history, anytime we break above that phase 1 bear market structure of support, I mean, we can see how that structure affects the market. And at this point, I just don't see why we would all of a sudden break these lows down here. Hopefully that person was just trolling and not actually trading that way. And I mean, if it happens, hey, that sounds like a very volatile time full of panic, and that could be a lot of fun on smaller time frames. So you know what? 12K, I'll take it. I don't think I'm lucky enough to get 12K again, but I'll take it. I don't care. Capo's still calling? Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah, what else can we see here? Bitcoin. Yeah, like I said, guys, I mean, I've had this chart mapped out for such a long time. I just don't really see why we'd stop before that fib level. Especially, like I said, we're above the 0.5 already. I mean, obviously, if this candle closes below the 0.5, that would be, what, 42? Yeah, if we close this weekly candle on Sunday evening below 42K, then yeah, maybe it is time for more of a correction. But if we close above this fib level, I just don't see why we wouldn't test the higher one, the 618. Will I be showing how to trade with my indicator step by step in this session? I mean, yeah, if something comes up here, I can. The thing is, I'll have to basically sit on one chart and watch it, but that's totally fine. But yeah, I can definitely check it out. Like I was saying, this would actually, where we are right now, according to my strategy, would be a decent short. I'm just not willing to short the market right now. I'm still using my gut feeling, you know, a little bit of confluence. I just, like I said, I'm not comfortable shorting this market right now. I don't really have FOMO to get into one. But absolutely, the fact that we had this lower high W and we have these lower low Ws, this would basically be the ideal entry for a short with stop loss. Invalidation would be above the previous W. That's a little looser than I like, honestly. Usually I really like to see when you can get them at a much closer level. Like, let's say the lower high W would have been, let's say somewhere here, one sec. If we got that W somewhere in here instead, I would have been a lot more likely to take this as a sell signal, just because the stop loss would have been so tight. Taking it from this level here, that's just a little bit looser of a stop loss than I'm willing to take personally, especially that it's going against the direction that I want to be trading right now. So that's the only reason I'm not taking that trade right now. But also the fact that we're lining up with this point of control here. Yeah, you know, there is some resistance there, but I'm just not comfortable shorting right now. What I would like to see, and I don't think I'll have time this session because I actually do have to go out with the girlfriend shortly after this stream, so I got to keep it to around an hour. But what I would love to see is, let's say, this is why it's going to take a while, is I want to see a higher high W come into play. And then I want to see a higher low come into play after that so that the W's are trending the same direction. That's where, let's say we get a W here, come down to this level, get that. That's where I want to take a long entry. Or in that case, I would actually add to the position that I currently have, especially since I did already close half of it. I would consider adding to it again if I got that signal. Especially if it ended up in, let's say, it totally depends where this little rally is going to top out here. But if I don't get stopped out, obviously, or if I'm entering a new position, wherever this rally tops out and then wherever it pulls back to, if I could get a higher low W in that 786, 886 fib pocket, I would, well, that's my favorite setup, basically. When I have the W's trending a direction and the signal, if it's a short, obviously I'm only playing the lower high signals. Like, let me just backtrack a little bit here. Let me remove all my, how many, here we go. Let me also get rid of the volume here just to clean things up a little bit. So when I'm talking about which way these are trending, like here, like I said, we have our low, lower low, lower low. Then we have our high, our lower high. I'm only interested in playing the lower highs in that case and shorting them. Just because I have this warning that the lows are setting lower lows, I'm not necessarily shorting yet. And you know what? Absolutely. Entering here, when we got this lower low, that would have in that case been a beautiful scalp. Got our next W. Nice take profit there. But I'm more so looking for those lower highs. Here's a perfect example why I don't want to play the short right now. But that is more so what I'd be playing in that case. So now, since we broke that level, what I'm looking for would be a higher W. And then waiting for that higher low W. Like I said, specifically at an important Fibonacci level or also in these demand zones. This would also be a beautiful signal if we got a higher low signal in there. So that's kind of how I use it, but I've got about 15 minutes before I got to head out here. The probabilities that we do get a higher high and then a higher low, we're going to have to see. But yeah, absolutely it might. I'll watch the 1 minute for a little bit with you guys. So that trade that I guess I removed my entry here, but that trade that I shared right at the start of the stream that I had taken, 188.9 was my entry. I like my entries in blue. And like I said, this is a 50x, so I'm currently up approximately 22% on the remaining half of this position. So here's another way, actually, that position that I did take earlier. Another way I look at it, not obviously I trade more ways than just the higher W's, for example. That's just one of my trading strategies, right? What I really like to see as well is these reversal warnings in those 786, 886 Fibonacci pockets. So a perfect example of that is where we bottomed out here on this current trend to where we topped out at that point was right there. And you can see that we got that reversal warning right in that pocket. And that's what led me to take that trade earlier. Yeah, I've been here for a little over a year and a half now, I think. Been using these indicators, coming up with strategies for over a year now. The slow and fast bands, that's basically just Bollinger Bands. Basically just predicting kind of where the range is going to be, right? Let me just remove a few things and I will throw on the bands. I personally haven't really been using the bands. I can bring them up here. I'll start with the bands slow. I know, Max, you've used the bands more, or continue to use the bands more. Yeah, I mean, you can see it's done a pretty good job. Like I said, I personally don't use this feature on the indicator, so I don't want to give any misinformation about it, but it has been respecting it quite well, in my opinion. Anytime we're getting towards the bottom, it's looking at either a nice little long scalp entry or just closing a short, depending what kind of a position you're in. But yeah, it does a pretty good job of outlining the trend there. I do want to check out what it does on fast here. Is this... Oh, and there's fast. Yeah, I like the look of slow a little better. It seems a little more accurate to me. I would personally stick with slow. Obviously, if you do some backtesting and you come up with a system that works with fast, great. But yeah, I agree with Max that it looks good when you get these reversal warnings along the outer bands on slow. It does look fairly nice there. You can see here we get this reversal warning and close back into the bands, for example. I mean, obviously this is hindsight, but like I said, I haven't used this indicator much, but yeah, some nice entries here. We get those reversal warnings right along the edge of the bands. This would have been a bit of a fail, but depending where you had your stop loss, right? If you had it above the swing, you would have been fine. Even the one right now, as far as a little scalp goes, I mean, that one even played out, got fairly close to the outer bands here, and yeah, nice signal there. But again, this is a 1 minute, so take it for what it is. But yeah, from the looks of it, I like the look of the slow bands. I want to check it out on a longer time frame, actually. Let's see what it looks like on the 4 hour. Give it a second. Okay. Kind of hard to see on a longer time frame like that. Or is it just that big? Maybe I'm looking. Oh, yeah. Okay. No, I was just zoomed in too far. That is a big band. Oh boy, can you imagine the pullback? We come back to some of these levels. Actually, that's not unrealistic, to be honest. I mean, as far as the longer time frame goes, like if we do get this rejection at the 618, like I'm thinking that we should. Obviously doesn't have to happen, but I've personally been looking for that level for a long time, and I was thinking that if we do see this rejection here, I think that we're coming back down to this box here. Really, anywhere from 32 down to 28,000 US dollars would not surprise me. So looking at this massive band here and how it's expanding to the downside, yeah, you know, absolutely we could see that pullback. That would be wild. Yeah, MDX said it. There's a ton of value here in this community, guys, because everybody has their own styles. Everyone has their own trading systems that work for them, because I know I say this every video, you guys, but we could all have the exact same trend lines, the same indicators, the same settings, and trade these markets completely different. In fact, we would. I can guarantee it. So it is always important to find out what works for you. Do a little bit of back testing. If you do have a paid version of TradingView, this replay feature, very powerful. Going back and just finding what lines up with your vision. If like these W strategies, for example, this is just something that I came up with on my own because I started seeing it in the charts, because maybe I look at too many charts, but just from back testing, coming up with my own strategies. So yeah, find out what works for you, what time frames work better for you, all that sort of stuff. But it's such a valuable community to be a part of, to get different ideas from so many different people and so much experience in trading the markets in this group. It's unbelievable. And we're all students of the market, so it's great to be learning together constantly. Oh yes, one-on-one mentoring, guys. If you're looking at one-on-one mentoring, it's something that a lot of the coaches / mentors are doing, so that's going to be a thing that's available soon. Exciting stuff, guys. There's so much education here at your fingertips. Obviously, if you guys need somebody to step you through scalping, that's kind of my main focus. Like I said, I do look at scalping a lot. Obviously understand market structure and stuff like that. So swing trading, absolutely. Swing trading, scalping, that sort of thing, using the indicators. All stuff that I love talking about and love talking to people about. So yeah, I will be one of the mentors. Scalping, nice. Yeah, me too. I love sitting at the computer scalping, playing video games at the same time. I do a little bit of automated trading as well, but I still love a good scalp. Yeah, absolutely. Supply and demand, same as support and resistance. More so order blocks, just where there's just big orders have basically held the price at those levels. So basically, I do look at them the same as support and resistance, basically. Let me actually just bring up... I'm going to get rid of the bands just because I don't want too much clutter. But yeah, supply and demand. One of my favorite things about this indicator, because and I love that it automatically does it, because one thing, like as a scalper, as I was saying, I love scalping and playing video games at the same time. The market structure changes so quickly, and I find so often that these supply and demand zones map themselves out the exact way that I would map out support and resistance. So it's just automatic for me. You know, I can have this going on one monitor while I'm playing on another, kind of a thing. Watching YouTube videos on another monitor, that kind of thing. I love that this automatically does this. And I mean, I feel spoiled now after scalping, day trading, whatever. Oh, nice. Here, we did get this higher high here. Sorry to interrupt myself here. Higher high, I would love to see a higher low. But yeah, I just feel so spoiled with these indicators because I feel like I don't even really have to chart anymore. For a while, I felt like I was starting to get rusty, like I haven't been drawing trend lines and stuff as much, but I just find that it's so automatic, and just coming up with my own strategies with these indicators, it just feels automatic, you know? Oh, I would have loved to see a W form there. What are we looking for? You know, now that we got this higher high here, another thing I would be interested in watching, again, just looking for that Fibonacci pocket. Right now it's a little bit below this demand zone. Currently, this would be my 786, 886 fib pocket. Let's make it bright green. That's a level I'm currently interested in watching. To see a higher low W in there would be absolutely perfect. We don't always get what we want, but then we'd have a nice tight stop loss as well. And also, this being said, I may have to adjust these fibs, because as we pump higher, let's just say that we just set a higher high kind of a thing, something like that, then obviously I have to adjust my Fibonacci's, and then my Fibonacci pocket would move as well. But that's the thing with scalping, right? I mean, charting in general, like I said, it's way more important being able to react rather than predict. So as it stands right now, I'd be interested in watching this, just because the W's have trended back to the upside. Now I'm basically looking for reasons to scalp long again. Saint Mer, Yo, bro. I can take a look at ETH. Let's take a look at ETH. Let's take a look at the 4 hour. I believe in my last stream, actually, I was talking about this ascending triangle here. Beautiful breakout. If we're looking for a measured move, I'd do something like so. And actually, that's pretty bang on to where it's topped out so far. No wonder we got a bit of a reaction there. Yeah, tread carefully. But I mean, obviously, the trend is your friend. As long as we're just trending up, we have higher high, higher high, higher high, higher high. What's the lowest point between our last two would be this level. So that's currently where I'd love to see the bulls step in if we do have a little pullback. Really anywhere in here would be and if we drop lower, I mean, the good news is basically with a lot of crypto right now, basically every chart, we've formed so much consolidation. You know, we never just went straight to the upside. We did actually stop and range at important levels. So Ethereum, Bitcoin, most altcoins as well, just kind of staircasing higher and building this structure. So no matter what happens here, I mean, we still have so much support, potential support going for us. We end up dropping this box. I think that's where we can start looking at Fibonacci's. Maybe from this range low here is where I would start from. If we do pull back, you know, that's where I start watching Fibonacci levels again. And obviously, checking out the indicators. Point of control down here, just a ton of demand here. You can actually see that these demand boxes are starting to overlap because we have that brighter center there. So there's just so much demand. We already had a demand zone here, then we stacked another one on top of there. If we were to drop significantly, that's where we start to, I'd say, targeting even these levels. There's just a ton of demand down there, so definitely a level to watch for. How realistic is it that we drop to those levels? I mean, we're going to have to see, right? So far, we still have W's trending to the upside. Same with on the low end, higher low. Another higher low, maybe a nice, beautiful buy entry again. Or a buy signal at the very least, and start looking for those shorter time frame trades in that point. Absolutely could be a nice signal there. FBTC. Alrighty. Let's go Bitstamp just because it's probably got the most history. Oh yeah, that was a pretty good reaction there, hey? Let me just clean things up a little bit. This is Ethereum versus Bitcoin. So, I mean, yeah, the fact that Ethereum has seen a significant bounce compared to Bitcoin there, I mean, I think the altcoin market should be in a good place. Bitcoin stays relatively healthy as long as it doesn't all of a sudden nuke. You know, I think if there's an unhealthy amount of fear and the market just absolutely nukes Bitcoin, then I think the altcoins are in a little bit of trouble. But if it can kind of hold some sort of a range and trade sideways, consolidate for a little while with Ethereum bouncing like this versus Bitcoin, then I think the altcoin market's going to be in a beautiful place. Again, just showing basically how I like Fibonacci's here. You can see just on this downtrend here, for ETH, we had this high, or then we had this low, then we had lower low, lower high. We broke this level, so this little bit of a downtrend was kind of negated in that case. But after we ended up seeing this pullback, that's where you're starting to look for longs on pullbacks, right? And I mean, after we got this little bit of a top out, just take a look from our swing low to our current range high. Well, what do you know? Basically right at that 886 Fibonacci level again. There's a reason why I absolutely love this fib pocket so often. It's a beautiful entry. And again, such a tight stop loss in that case. If you're getting a nice reaction there, just a break of the lows, basically invalidation. I mean, beautiful trade setups at those levels. I love using the Fibonacci. That's basically the only thing I use other than the indicators from this group. I don't use any other indicators. I basically use the ALGOs and I use the Fib tool. That's basically all I use, you guys. How far out can pros sense a nuke? Good question. Depends how you want to look at it. Like I said, I've been calling for this ever since November when FTX collapsed 13 months ago or so. I was saying that if that was the market bottom, that I assume we would make it all the way up towards 48K, that 618, and then pull back towards this old phase one of the previous bear market. I figured that we'll get stopped out at that 618 and come back to that support box. That's just personally what I think, and I've been pretty vocal about that for over a year now. Obviously, that's a super premature statement to make because, I mean, obviously the market can take 1,000 different routes to get to those levels. But yeah, that was just something on my radar for a long time now. I really do think that it makes total sense that we'd see some kind of a rejection and retest this support box. When is it going to happen? No idea. I'm not a time analysis guy. There is the, what is it? The CBOE is launching futures trading on January 11th or something like that, I think. You know, something like that sparked the bear market from our 20K top a couple market cycles ago. So something like that could end up pushing the market again. Maybe there's some weird thing happens with the ETFs that sparks the top. Who knows, right? I'm just going to play it as it comes on the shorter time frames. I can't predict when we're going to see our rejection, but I would expect it to be somewhere in that. Really anywhere from here towards 50K, I'm really expecting to see some kind of a correction, but I'm not going to be blindly shorting it. Honestly, like I said, this seems like such an obvious level that I remember feeling that way when we were down here, where I thought this was such an obvious short and got wrecked. That was a couple market cycles ago. So I just don't like to blindly set orders. Like I said, it's more important to be able to react. So if we start seeing shorter time frames showing bearish divergences, shorter time frames doing double tops, failed breaks, anything like that, maybe that's where I'm going to start looking at, hey, maybe it's time to take a swing at a short here just in case the market is ready for a reversal here. But I will treat it the same as I do with every trade. I will be quick to take out a quarter to half of my profits or get stopped out relatively quick. But ideally, I like to close a quarter to half my position relatively quickly, and from there, hope to catch that swing. You know, if I can catch a scalp at this level, but let half my position run, I'm going to be a very happy man. I know it's always fun to say, oh, if I held the whole position, that would have been awesome. But aiming for home run trades every time is going to get a person wrecked. So remember to pay yourself. Oh, nice, Max. I'll definitely check that out after I'm done here. Ronald, that's why we trade 5-second charts. I can't handle the 5-second charts. I do have access to the 5-second charts. Oh, I'm actually not going to do that with logarithmic chart. I can go on shorter time frames. I honestly find such a lag with I have to have two devices on the go in that case, one ready to trade on the exchange, one looking at the charts, and even then I find that maybe it's just my internet. I don't know, I have the fastest I can buy here, but it can't seem to keep up, and I'll sometimes be all of a sudden a couple candles go by and it's catching up kind of a thing, and all of a sudden, I mean, that's the thing when you're entering on those short of time frames. I mean, 15 seconds later can be a big difference in your entry in that case. So I like to stick, I personally, when I'm degen scalping, I like the 1 minute. I don't really like going below that. But hey, like I said, everyone has their own trade styles, their own time frames, their own system that works for them, right? So yeah, Saint Mer, I'm already your personal coach. That's right. Well, thanks for tuning in, buddy. Talk soon. Yeah, guys, I actually have to start wrapping up here. Me and the girlfriend are going for ice cream here, so that's pretty important. I did promise. Does anyone have any last minute questions? Anything you want, any coins you want me to check out last minute, anything like that? Otherwise, we have been going over an hour here, so I wouldn't mind going and grabbing something to eat and that kind of thing. And obviously, guys, feel free to shoot a message in the Discord or whatever if you do have questions or anything. Yeah, feel free to post in there. Whether it's me or other people in the group, it's obviously you've all found out, I'm sure by now, that it's a super helpful community to be a part of. So yeah, if you missed another stream, got the notifications late, be sure to keep up with the events on your Discord in the top left. There should be an events tab, and if you click that, it should show all the events for the week. I think Sunday evenings the list gets posted, Sundays or Mondays, and then you should see in your local time when every session is from all the coaches. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate having you guys here. I love being able to talk crypto with you guys. Honestly, it helps me keep a level head if I can talk about my own ideas, because it's very easy to flip-flop in your own head, which I'm sure you're all very aware of. And so, sometimes talking through the process really helps you keep a level head. So I absolutely love doing this with you guys. Hopefully you took something educational out of this. Again, if you want me to do anything differently in the future, anything like that, don't hesitate to give a little constructive criticism, anything like that. But hopefully you did appreciate being a part of this live stream. And again, guys, check out the events page if you are in the Discord here. And yeah, there's a lot of coaches doing a lot of streams. We have 2 or 3 live streams going every day. There's so much knowledge to be soaked up here, so you're in the right place. Right on, legends. Well, I appreciate all of you being here. With that, stay safe, my friends. Like I said, do you have any other questions? Don't hesitate to hit me up in the Discord there. With that, I'm out. Stay safe, my friends. Peace. Anyways, my friends, if you appreciated this video, please do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. If you want access to my favorite indicators, the VIP Discord, as well as a couple of no KYC crypto exchanges, I've got some links down below for some special bonuses, discounts, and so on. And with that, I'm out. Stay safe, my friends. Peace.